Internet! Today I'm here to go ahead and do my TBR for the Summer Biannual Bibliothon. Biannual Bibliothon is one of my favorite readathons to participate in. They do it twice a year, which is why it's called the Biannual Bibliothon. But this summer round is going to be from July 14th through the 20th. And I wanted to go ahead and upload my TBR because one of the reading challenges is to read a book from someone else's TBR. And I'm sure that there are some people out there that want to read from someone else's Biannual Bibliothon TBR, so I wanted to go ahead and upload my video a little early. There are 7 reading challenges this round, and I have 4 books on my TBR, so let's just jump right into it. Now the first reading challenge is the only one that I am not going to be participating in, and it is to read the group book. This round, the group book is The Wicked Deep. And this one really just doesn't interest me that much, so I've decided to opt out of the group book for this round. But I do have books on my TBR for the other 6 challenges. The first book on my TBR is Ivy Aberdeen's Letter to the World by Ashley Herring Blake. This is a middle grade book about a girl who draws pictures in her journal of girls holding hands because she's trying to figure out her sexuality, and then her house gets swept up by a tornado, and so she loses her journal. Then all of a sudden one day at school, the pictures that she drew start appearing in her locker and she has to find out where they're coming from. I have given the other 2 books I've read by Ashley Herring Blake 5 stars, and so I have chosen this book by her for the reading challenge of read a predicted 5-star read, because I'm sure I will give this one 5 stars as well. The next book on my TBR is Labyrinth Lost by Zoraida Cordova, and I'm not sure about the plot on this one. I know that it is a YA fantasy and it's about brujas. I think it has something to do, from what I remember, with a girl who knows magic, and I think she accidentally makes her whole family disappear, and so she has to figure out how to get them back. But other than that, I don't really know a whole lot about this one, but I'm very excited to read it. I recently met Zoraida Cordova whenever she and Danielle Clayton went on their Bells and Brujas tour, and it made me want to read this book even more than I already did. And I am using this for 2 reading challenges. The first reading challenge I'm using this one for is to read an own voices book that is different from you. And the second reading challenge I'm using this for is to read the last book you bought. Because while this isn't the last book I bought, it's the last book I bought that I haven't yet read. And just as a reminder, for the Biannual Bibliothon, you are allowed to double up on challenges, but you're not allowed to triple up on challenges. The next book on my TBR is Flame in the Mist by Renee Attier. Again, I don't know a whole lot about the plot of this one. A lot of times with fantasy, I really like to go in kind of blind. But I believe the second book in this series either just came out or is about to come out, called Smoke in the Sun. So I really need to read this one to see if I want to continue on, so that way I don't get too far behind. But I am using this for 1 reading challenge, and that challenge is the read a book from someone else's TBR challenge, because what I did for this challenge is I went back and watched past Bibliothon TBRs from people, and last summer this was the group book for the Summer Biannual Bibliothon, which I was reminded of when I watched Emma's video, Emma from Emma Books. And so since I did not participate last summer in the Biannual Bibliothon because it was the same week as BOOKTUBE-a-thon, I decided to go ahead and give this one a read because it's been on my shelf for a while. And the last book on my TBR actually goes for 2 challenges as well, one of which is to read a book that's been on your TBR for over a year, and the second challenge it worked for is to pick 3 books, read the first chapter, and then pick your favorite. So it was inspired by the Try a Chapter tag, and I actually filmed myself reading the 3 books I picked out, so I'm going to go ahead and roll that footage now. So today I am actually going to pick out what book I'm going to do for the Try a Chapter reading challenge for the Biannual Bibliothon TBR. And I actually decided to combine this with another reading challenge for the Bibliothon, which was to read a book that's been on your shelf for over a year. So I decided to double up on those 2 challenges for this book. So I've picked 3 books. All 3 of these are books that have been on my shelves for over a year, and also all 3 of them have audiobooks available at my library because I haven't picked out an audiobook to read for the Bibliothon yet. And I'm going to read the first chapter of all 3 of them and see which one I like the best. So my options are The Rest of Us Just Live Here by Patrick Ness, Wish Granter by CJ Redwine, and Daughter of the Pirate King by Trisha Levenseller. So yeah, I'm going to read the first chapter of each of these books and then decide what book is going to be included on my Biannual Bibliothon TBR. So I thought that for this portion of the TBR video, I would kind of take you on that journey with me and do like a mini try a chapter video within my Biannual Bibliothon TBR video. So let's just get right into it. I think I'm gonna start with Daughter of the Pirate King, literally just because it happened to be the one that was on top. So let's get into it. Daughter of the Pirate King was pretty action-packed. I could see myself being able to get through this one pretty quickly. Even on audio, I feel like I would be able to get through it pretty quickly. The first couple of pages, I wasn't really sure about it, but I do think that it could get really interesting and that it could be a fun read. So I will definitely keep this in mind, but I don't feel strong enough about it to say that I would for sure pick it yet. So the next one I'm going to try is The Wish Granter by CJ Redwine. This one is a Rumpelstiltskin retelling, and that's all I really know about it. So let's see how I feel about it. Granter, there was a fairly decently sized, I guess, preface before the first chapter, so I decided to just read that because if I would have read the first chapter on top of that, it would have been way more pages than the Pirate King, than the Daughter of the Pirate King. But I really like the preface of this one. Like I said, it's Rumpelstiltskin retelling. I really like the writing style. This is the second book in a companion retelling series. The first one, The Shadow Queen, was a Snow White retelling, and I really liked that one too. So this one might possibly be my pick, but I have one more to read, and it's one that I've heard really good things about, which is The Rest of Us Just Live Here. A lot of people really like this book, so I'm gonna read the first chapter of this one and then make my decision. This one was very different, not in a bad way. I could see myself really enjoying this, but the first chapter I don't think was enough to get me super invested in the story, which, I mean, that's a normal thing. So while I could really see myself enjoying this book at some point, I don't think this is going to be the one that I pick for this particular readathon. Out of the three, I think the one that I got the most invested in was The Wish Granter. So I think this is the one that I'm going to pick for this challenge. So as you can see, the winner ended up being The Wish Granter by CJ Redwine, which, like I said in that video, is a Rumpelstiltskin retelling. And out of the three books that I picked, this one just intrigued me the most. And also, I don't want to get too far behind on this series because the third book is already out, and I think the fourth one comes out at the beginning of next year. So I need to get on this, and I'm really looking forward to listening to the audiobook for this one for those two challenges. So that is it for my Biannual Bibliothon TBR for this summer round. Let me know down in the comments if you're participating, and if you have a TBR video or an Instagram post, link that below because I love looking at people's TBRs for readathons. But yeah, if you're participating, have a fun reading week, and I will see you guys next time with another video. Bye.